Well, I think we lost Dorothy, so maybe we can start with some introductions. This has been recorded, so eventually we will manage to make some notes for this for further communication. So can we go maybe Mayu?
Mhm.
Can you talk, please?
Yes.
Introduce
Okay.
yourself.
Thank you. My name is Mayo Akaki, and I'm a PhD student of university in Japan.
Which university?
Keio University. Do you know?
Keio.
Yeah, really? I'm studying system design.
I spent a summer in Keio in 1976.
Wow.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
What do you study? What do you study?
Yeah, I study system design and management.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Eric, would you like to introduce yourself? Eric, hi.
Thank you. I didn't know if Mayu was finished. My name is Eric Brubaker. I'm a PhD student in mechanical engineering at Stanford University. I study design, and I've been working in Africa since about 2010, mostly in Zambia and more recently in Kenya.
Great, thank you. Anders?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Good. I'm Anders Rosen. I'm associate professor at the KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. I am also deputy director of the KTH Global Development Hub. I'm interested in education for sustainable development in general. We are working with developing a concept for challenge-driven education, and so education for sustainable development, challenge-driven education. I'm interested in key competence, sustainable, that kind of learning. I'm also interested now, as everybody else, in developing online teaching and learning related to challenge-driven education.
Right.
That's a little bit about me.
Thank you. I see Negin Yashmi. I don't see the picture, but I see the name. Negin, can you introduce yourself? I'm not sure. So the first rule of online is to become familiar with the technology, I guess. Okay. Dorothy, can you join us again? I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. So let's start at least the conversation of one particular topic that might be of interest to you to discuss. And I could use some help. We had a reporter assigned, Eva Sayo, but it's not there. Eric, would you like to be a reporter and say a few words when we get back of what we discussed? It's informal. Would that be okay?
I can do that if you all would like.
Yeah, please do. Thank you. So can we just go around and talk about some topics that you're interested? I just can start by mentioning that I'm trying to find out the formalities for how to. Dorothy, could you mute your for now? Yeah, thank you. The formalities of how to have these collaborations of teaching jointly while accounting for all the different rules. Particularly in the US universities, we have a big problem because we charge a lot of tuition. So if I want to collaborate with another school and the students of the other school have to pay our tuition, this is becoming a big problem. In Europe, it's easier because of different collaborations. So I'll give you an example. This semester, I'm teaching my senior design class, and I have 10 students from Makerere and 10 students from Botho, and who have joined our teams. And they've mixed with our students, but this is a totally informal arrangement. Basically, I and the professors have agreed to do it. Nobody gets credit within Michigan. They get credit in their home institutions. But I also don't get any credit. So if I add another 20 students to my 40, 50 American students, I do it because I want to, but the system doesn't really have a way of dealing with it. So I would like, the point is how to make practical these joint teaching opportunities, and how can they be accepted? Are there any methods that people have used that work well, or at least work some? So that's my point. I would suggest somebody else to make a point, and then we can discuss them. So Anders, you want to go next with one interesting problem for you?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to respond? Do you want me to respond on your point? Or?
Yeah, sure. Yes, and then you can add
your
own.
On your point, I share. Yeah, I share your concern that it's a challenge to create collaborations between universities. There are different challenges. One solution that I have used, it was in collaboration actually with Japan. There we had students from my university collaborating with students from University of Tokyo, and we had them enrolled in courses at the respective universities, but we created ways for them to collaborate. So we didn't have any issues with credit transfer or anything like that. So in that way, it worked out very well. And we didn't have any funding to begin with. So it was a design project, quite large design project. They were designing boats for a race in Lake Biwa. And to begin with, we didn't have any funding. So it was an online, and the students managed to raise funding, and I could manage to support them and my colleagues in Japan. So I could travel to Japan, and we could actually finalize the building of these boats and participate in the race there. But we didn't know. We started ad hoc, but the basis was we didn't mix the academic systems. We just created opportunities from our respective institutions for the students to collaborate.
So this is how I do it now. But let's say if I wanted a young professor who is in the system, he doesn't have time, or she doesn't have, has to be recognized. This effort has to be recognized by the system, right? And this is the problem I see, that it all has to be done on a voluntary, extra effort basis, right? Is there any organization or system that supports this? Is there any model in any of the universities of how this could be supported? That's a question. Anyway, Mayu, can you share your thoughts and other problems, not necessarily this one?
Okay, thank you. Keio University, my graduate school, also do the design project at the PBL, but in Japan, we don't focus on sustainability so much. I was quite surprised that many African universities and also European universities working on design on sustainable products and sustainable cities and things. And I was very much interested in that because some of my clients are very interested in sustainable things, but it's still very small. Only few people are interested in that in Japan at this point.
Why do you think that is the case? I would think that Japan would be more interested in sustainability.
I don't know why, but I think the Europeans are the most interested in my image, but yeah.
Okay. Eric, you want to say a few things?
Thank you, everyone. And just so you know, I'm attempting to take notes in our Google Doc that they shared with us. So feel free to edit the notes.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm interested in so before I came back to school, I used to teach project-based and problem-based courses at a group called MIT D-Lab. And those were usually collaborations between students at MIT and community members somewhere else. And for me,
with Amos Winter, this group.
Amos Winter was involved in that, and Jesse Austin Brenneman, who I imagine you also know.
Yes.
Among others. And I think there's inherent privilege coming from a place like MIT or Stanford or others in the US and other parts of Europe and Japan and in many parts of the world, working with, say, a university in Zambia, which I was working with often, or community members that weren't even part of a university, regardless of where they are in the world. And so I'm curious about how to develop educational partnerships that take into account these differences in resources, differences in power, and allow for actually collaborations in the truest sense of that word, that actually provide real value for everyone involved. And I was interested in this particular session, and I'm grateful for everyone who organized it, in that it seems like there's more participation from folks based in Africa. So I'm glad Dorothy's here. I'd be interested to hear more about how folks who aren't based in Africa can develop partnerships that actually work well for those in Africa.
That's great. Maybe that's a good thing for you, Dorothy, to share your thoughts. You have a lot of experience.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great. I'll just keep my video off because I'm having challenges also with the connectivity. As I shared in the brief presentation that I made, we are really very keen in terms of guiding our students towards solving community challenges. And the Sustainable Development Goals provide us a very good framework in order to do this. And then on the other part of what we do, as the university, we're very much interested in regional and international collaboration. So we are always on the lookout for this type of partnership to build on. As I shared, the PBL approach that we have enables us to quickly onboard this type of initiatives. And I like what Anders had to share in terms of the challenge-driven education. It helps us also address the issue of how do we enable students to get credit for these and, while working with different partners. So networks such as this, and I hope that this would be one of the outcomes of this kind of session, that we build networks and partnerships and see how we build upon this to do work together. As I shared, it was an engagement with at University of Michigan, and the interest in the common interest that we had with Panos, that then we came up with this idea that, okay, this is a common area of interest. Let's have some students. And I'm very grateful that our students were allowed into his class to take this and work on a design challenge. We have other students who participate in the UK and all. So maybe the quick answer to your question, Eric, what type of networks facilitate this type of interaction so that it's more systematic and can be done more, less of like chance meetings, so to speak, but like there's a sort of marketplace, if you will, where initiatives such as ours that are looking for this type of collaboration, looking for the techniques, the skills and approaches, even the PBL approach that we use. This was from Aalborg University in Denmark that we really honed our skills in this area. So this type of platform to enable that type of sharing would be very important for both our sides, for your side that's looking for opportunities such as ours, and us who are looking to partner with others where we can do more testing, theoretical based work or simulation, but we have our students who are down on the ground and able to do more of the handwork or the legwork, so to speak. Thank you.
So Dorothy, the practical thing often is we do something in a voluntary basis, but then for this to be sustained, like you said, there has to be some sort of more systematic, and usually that means resources and basically support funding, at least for a few years. Have you identified any specific opportunities that might be good to target to support this type of collaboration?
Yes, that is a good question. For now, we haven't got one in a specific one that we can use for this. For a long time, I've been involved with the Resilient Africa Network. That was a platform supported by USAID, which did have this, did bring such a platform to bear, but it was largely within the network itself. So if you were part of the network, then you got to do something like this. Interestingly, this morning I was in a meeting with the World Universities Network, and it's also having its focus on the Sustainable Development Goals. And so the issue was, how do we work closer together? And they were interested in North-South type of partnerships. So I think we're getting to a stage where there are a number of either networks such as RAN, such as the World University Network. There's another one, the Plus Alliance network, where they're looking more around this to see what can be done together. And so hopefully that can drive more towards a marketplace where even if you're not part of this network, you can have easy ways to join it. But for now, I can't say that there's this platform that we could be able to join and then work on this together. So I think, for example, in terms of design for sustainable development, if that could be an outcome that comes from this, even the idea of the joint publication, because that's also another way of getting people to know what kind of things are we doing together, and then hopefully interest potential partners to put some resources beyond raising this as a platform, because I would see that if something emerged out of this event, this conference, it's a very open opportunity to participate. If we could get resources behind this to facilitate more of this kind of work. In some instances, and I thought what Anders had to share was a very good example where you have two universities with funding of their own and able to come together. But I think the bigger, at least from my perspective, the bigger challenge we have is we want to work together, but we actually would need more of the resources provided from a third party in order to facilitate that collaboration.
Right. Thank you. That's great. What is, are we supposed to go back already? Do you know? Oh, I'm looking at the time. 10:47 my time. So it looks like we have to go back, right? So Eric, I think
your next step.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Dorothy?
Yes, I was just saying one of the things we have to go back on is an agreement on some kind of next steps.
Yes. Well, I'm planning to work on a couple of papers for the conference that I mentioned. In fact, I'm working with Dorothy, with Emmanuel, to get him to become a co-author in a paper we started. So that's something that I find it's a very direct way that can be maintained. So if any one of you today, Eric, Anders, Mayu, if you're thinking of writing some paper, whether it's for the conference or for the journal or for any other venue. This is just the Design Society ones. We can open the conversation, and we will post this information so we can communicate ourselves afterwards, and maybe some others can join. Would that be okay? All right. Okay, I think we need to go back. This was very short, but anyway, I appreciate meeting you all. And Eric, we have to talk some more to find out what you're actually doing at Stanford and who you work with my friends there. Okay. Anders, nice meeting you. Mayu. And Dorothy, thank you again for making time. So I think we're going to go back now. So, bye.
Thank you all, and I look forward to furthering our collaboration.
Me too.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you.
Same.
Mhm.